Okay, so we're talking about another negative feedback inhibitor in the blood coagulation pathway. This is what is known as a TFPI. Now, TFPI is what is known as a tissue factor pathway inhibitor. Tissue factor pathway inhibitor. Now, for this tissue factor pathway inhibitor, we see where it works. Alright, I think it inhibits what combination of activated factor 7 with tissue factor. You understand? So it inhibits the tissue factor pathway. Now, tissue factor pathway is also known as what extrinsic pathway. You get? So that's just the difference. So tissue factor pathway inhibitor is a crucial negative regulator of blood coagulation pathway. Of course, the coagulation has to be regulated, else you now be having too much coagulations everywhere in the body, right? So inhibitor of factor 10 now is it inhibits factor 10 too, right? So it can directly inhibit factor 10, which is a key enzyme in the coagulation cascade. Now, can you see that what here? It can also come down to inhibit this mid guy, factor 10. You get? And factor 10 is like the factor that is uniting both the intrinsic pathway and the extrinsic pathway. You get? Then inhibition of tissue factor, then activated factor 7 complex. So it also inhibits the tissue factor and activated factor 7 complex, which is responsible for initiating what the extrinsic pathway, also known as the tissue factor pathway. I see the name there. Alright. So mechanism, it binds to factor 10, it can bind to factor 10, form a complex that will now inhibit factor 10 activity. Then for the formation of this it can bind to the when it binds to the factor 10, it can now form a complex. Now the complex is what will now inhibit the formation of tissue factor, then then the factor 7 or activated factor 7 complex. This will now provide a regulatory feedback loop to help in stopping what? Help in stopping coagulation, right? So importance is just regulation of coagulation. So they play significant role in regulating blood coagulation, and this will now prevent how blood is what? Clotting excessively. Right? Then balance in hemostasis. It helps to maintain a balance between what? Clot formation and dissolution. This will now ensure proper hemostasis. Right? So that's it for tissue factor pathway inhibitor.